Slasher really spreaded misinformation here and started a fire at this point that nobody is like trying to put out. They're trying to fan the flame and make it bigger. Here's the reality. Some things went down on Twitter yesterday, all right? And you guys might, I don't know if you guys use the Twitter, keep up with any of the Twitch news. Apparently, according to Twitter, okay, Twitch has banned 3 words. It's banned the word simp, it's banned the word incel, and it's banned the word virgin. We're gonna dive into the details of that today, and we're gonna actually kind of figure out what the hell's going on. Because, you know, as we've learned in the past, Twitter is very loud. It's interesting to see like what's real here, you know? So how we're gonna do this, okay? I wanna show you guys what Twitter has said, and then we're gonna go to the actual town hall, and we're gonna watch the clip that people are kind of getting this from. Then we're going to go and we're gonna read the harassment policy, okay? Kind of in that order. Okay, so we've got a tweet from Slasher, who's a popular like esports consultant and insider. It says right here, look, world's #1 esports consultant and insider, competitive gaming leader. This is how this tweet reads, and this is the first tweet in this thread, okay? The first tweet that comes out in this thread. Twitch now says that you can no longer call others simp, incel, and virgin, as they are now against TOS. Along with any emotes relating to the term simp, Twitch baby, what is you doing? Okay, that's a huge tweet. So he kind of like goes through the thread here, and he kind of gives his opinion here, all this kind of stuff. But this is basically the tweet that kind of went crazy, and now you see like tons and tons of people like tweeting off of this tweet. Okay, so they're like, oh man, they banned it, so they must have banned it. You know, it must be against TOS. But a lot of people aren't going to do what we're going to do and go a little bit deeper into it and see what's really going on here. Okay, then we dive into the harassment policy. Now we've talked about this on stream before. Let's kind of like look at it now in the context of this. Harassment is any content or activity that attempts to intimidate, degrade, abuse, or bully others, or creates a hostile environment for others, and is prohibited. Harassment is prohibited, which will consider a number of factors to determine the intent, context, and impact of any reported harassment. To help you identify what types of behavior and content may constitute as harassment or may constitute harassment, below is a list of examples. Bullying, such as repeated name calling or attempts to embarrass someone with the intent to harm. Abusing someone based on their employer, organization, or other affiliation. Telling someone to hurt or kill themselves. Creating user accounts dedicated to harassment or hate. Stalking or violating someone's established personal boundaries, such as circumventing channel bans, account blocks, or requests not to contact them. Revealing someone's personal information against their will or with the intent to harm them. Recording someone against their will or with the intent to harm them. Sharing content, including doctored or out of context content, with the intent to degrade, bully, or harm somebody. Browsing or raiding channels with malicious intent. Unwanted sexual advances, sexual harassment, and sexual bullying. Deliberately submitting false reports, doctoring report evidence, and report brigading, inciting or encouraging others to harass. But I guess there is a lot of gray area in here. Like what do they consider as harassment? What words do they consider? Is it just when somebody takes offense to something? That's where we saw this question coming out in the like the town hall or whatever it's called, the community something. Now this right here, this next clip is what's the original tweet that we saw stemmed from. But most people, they went down this same journey that we just went down, okay? So they went down this same journey where they saw that tweet. A lot of people didn't even make it to this point where they look at their policy and like, a lot of people just saw the tweet, retweeted, and kind of shared that information. So let's kind of see what's happening next, okay? So this is from the actual like town hall, okay? Let's listen to this really quick.
Actually is for Sarah. Sarah, there's a newer word going around Twitch, which is the word simp. And it's a phrase that the community can still use and make emotes for currently. But when the new policy goes into effect, what are we thinking about that term or that word?
Yeah, great question. So the new policy does include guidelines that say making any derogatory statements about another person's perceived sexual practices, and that does include negatively targeting another person with sexually focused terms. So using terms
that does include negatively targeting somebody, okay? That's a very important like first like statement that she says right there.
Another person's
go back
perceived sexual practices. And that does include policy. Doesn't.
All right,
when
let's
the
go,
new
let's go where she
policy
answers here.
goes into effect, what are we thinking about that term or that word?
Yeah, great question. So the new policy does include guidelines that say making any derogatory statements about another person's perceived sexual practices, and that does include negatively targeting another person with sexually focused terms. So using terms like simp, Incel or virgin is an insult. To negatively refer to another person's sexual activity is not allowed under this new policy. And in addition to the policy change, we're also proactively denying emotes that include the term simp, and we'll remove them when reported, and we'll keep doing that once the policy changes.
What we see here, in my opinion, if I were just to watch this and not see the tweet that we saw before, okay, what I'm hearing, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, if it is used in a harassing way, basically, like if you're calling somebody simp, incel, or virgin, and yes, they can be used in a harassing way. Like imagine like you just like, there's one person that came in here, right? There's one person in our community that came in here, and I just consistently like singled that person out and kept calling them like virgin or simp or whatever in a negative way. Look, they're not talking about joking about being a simp. They're not talking about joking about being a virgin. They're not talking about that. They're talking about when people use these particular words or other words to like consistently harass somebody. That's where it happens. And if there's proof of that. Now where Twitch could get into some trouble here, right, is if they don't do that last part well, if they don't find the proof well and they just go off the report, then we've got a problem. Now in this same town hall, they do talk about how do they combat against like false reporting and stuff like that. They said there will be like around the time of the reporting, there should be some kind of like indication that there was like consistent harassment, and they should be able to see that. Or the person like providing clips and stuff like that really helps out as well. When we look at like what's being said on Twitter versus this particular thing, I don't know if they match up in my opinion. Obviously the terms are not banned. They are banned within emotes, which I personally, I agree with. People can use emotes in any kind of way they want on other channels, like, and you can't control it, right? So you think a particular emote might be a good idea, but somehow that can be used in a different way. Kind of got to think about that a little bit, because then when somebody hovers over that emote, and if it's being used in a negative way, that emote is directly connected to your channel, and you're gonna have some splaining to do when that emote is being used to harass somebody else. Now a lot of times it happens with like bigger streamers and stuff like that. Like say you raid somebody and they happen to be somebody who is like celibate, right? You have a emote that says virgin, it's just a joke for you guys. Like maybe in COD, the towers in Warzone, they call them like virgin towers. Say you have an emote for that, but then you raid somebody, you didn't realize that was the case for them. And then they explain, oh yeah, this is, a channel about this. We a big part of our channel, we talk about, celibacy or whatever. I don't know. All of a sudden your chat starts spamming that emote. That's the kind of stuff that can really happen. And then in a harassing way. And so that's why I think it's a good idea. Like with some emotes, it might be a good idea to kind of like get a little bit more control. So we see this tweet from Slasher, right? That's where we started off. We went from there to the harassment policy, Twitch town hall, and then we've got this tweet. Let's read this one more time. Twitch now says that you can no longer call others simp, incel, and virgin, as they are now against TOS. With all of the knowledge that we have now, do you think that is a correct statement? Now let's read this right here. So Slasher says that a Twitch spokesperson, actually, I think I have it over here. Yeah, a Twitch spokesperson has provided a statement on using terms such as simp and incel, stating that using these terms on their own won't lead to an enforcement, but we would take action if they were used repeatedly. This tweet has 4K likes, by the way. BT dubs. This tweet has 124K likes, okay? So this tweet's the one that really got out. All right? So let's go over here, though. Let's read this. This is a very, very important part of this whole puzzle, okay? We will take action again, and this is like a Twitch spokesperson, apparently. I don't know where this exactly came from or whatever, but this is a Twitch spokesperson, okay? We will take action against the use of words like simp, incel, or virgin, specifically when they are being used to negatively refer to another person's sexual practices. Using these terms on their own wouldn't lead to an enforcement. These terms are not banned on Twitch. These terms are not banned on Twitch. Using these terms on their own wouldn't lead to an enforcement, but we would take action if they were used repeatedly in a harassing manner. If you feel like you have been repeatedly harassed, okay, within the Twitch guidelines and the Twitch TOS, okay, you report, and they should take action based on their TOS, okay? Now, how often they miss things and stuff like that, I don't know. I have no idea. And that's something that they need to figure out. How do you harass somebody with the word simp? Somebody who really enjoys a creator. They tier 3 sub to them, happens to be a male subbing to a female or vice versa. Somebody tier 3 subs to them. And anytime their name pops up in a tier 3 sub, say you send a whisper to them like, I can't believe you tier 3 subbed, you simp. That's pretty harassing. That's pretty harassing, especially if the person is kind of like not feeding into that. And especially if they tell you, hey, I don't really appreciate that. And then you go, yeah, that's because you're a simp. Slasher, who actually I enjoy a lot of his commentaries, like on the Trainwreck podcast. I enjoy like his Twitter and stuff. Unfortunately, it seems like Slasher really spreaded misinformation here and started a fire at this point that nobody is like trying to put out. They're trying to fan the flame and make it bigger. And unfortunately, in our society, that's a very fun thing to do for people versus actually getting down to what's going on. And that really bothers me, especially when it comes to Twitch, because I feel like Twitch, yes, has made a lot of mistakes and done a lot of bad things and stuff like that. But I feel like sometimes those things that people highlight are not actually what is being highlighted on Twitter. But this is a good conversation, everybody. I wanted to use my platform to hopefully bring forth a little bit more context to it. And if you feel like, you know, that tweet was true, then awesome. If you don't, then hopefully you would go from here and correct people that are taking a bad stance on it. So, yeah. Thank you guys for coming to my TED Talk.